Well, they said that he couldn't win 3, so the question now is, why can't Nikola Jokic win a 4th MVP? Can Christian Braun sustain what has been an absolutely incredible start to the season? We'll preview the Heat and Mavericks games, and, Swipe and Grab's going to talk a little Broncos Chiefs here on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to win $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Thanks for joining us and being an everydayer, hanging out with us Monday through Friday. Tons of shows for you this week. We'll have a post-game show after the Heat game, and then we'll do no jinx on Sunday after Mavericks. I will not be at Heat tonight because it is snowing like cats. Raining like cats and dogs.
Raining cats and dogs.
Snowing
like dandruff, maybe.
Snowing like snow leopards and huskies. That's what it would be. Just convert it for the cold. This is Swipe and Gripe with Matt Moore and Swipe. You can catch Swipe on Twitter and on his YouTube page at SwipeAcam. Reactions to every single Nuggets game, as well as lots of content across your screens. Appreciate you guys being with us here on a Friday. On today's show, we'll talk about the Heat and the Mavericks games this weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about Christian Braun. We're going to start Swipe the MVP's ladder from NBA.com came out today, first edition of the season. And you had your comments, and I will say I don't really pay attention to the NBA.com ladder a whole lot. Like, it's as somebody that obsesses over the MVP, I don't focus that much on it just from a number of reasons. But they had Anthony Davis 1, they had Jason Tatum 2, they had Nikola Jokic 3. I will just I put this graphic out on our YouTube page and on Twitter. You should follow both, Locked On Nuggets. That shows these are the ranks for Nikola Jokic in various categories. Jokic so far this season. He's first in rebounds. He's first in assists. He's first in box plus minus. He's first in estimated plus minus. He's fourth in points per game. It's been an absolutely incredible start. I take that back. It has not been an incredible start for Nikola Jokic. It has been a very Nikola Jokic start to Nikola Jokic's season, because that's the standard that he has set. Look, we are months and months and months away from this award being awarded, and most people don't even want to talk about it. Trust me, as somebody that wants to talk about it before January, most people don't even want to hear the words MVP before January. But I do think it's an interesting question of, one, do you object to this ranking? And then two, do we actually think that Jokic can win this for a 4th freaking time?
Well, to answer your first question, I like talking basketball, so it's all fun to me. I think that there's always a good way to credit players for great starts. I think Jason Tatum has been a top 5 player this year, deservedly so, unlike last year, for me personally. I think that there are ways for you to be able to discuss progress. I think AD's been incredible. Anthony Edwards has a conversation to be a top 5 player this year. Buddy Hield looks like an All-NBA player so far. I think he deserves credit for what he is doing. But if you're asking me, based on how this year has started, who is the best player in the world, and then subsequently asking, can he win MVP? Well, I predicted he's going to win MVP this year. But I feel like people, and this is the thing, Matt, I wish my name wasn't Swiped sometimes. I wish I didn't cover the Denver Nuggets. Because if I was not me covering the Denver Nuggets, then everything I say would just be legitimate. Like, he might just be ahead of the curve. But because I'm Swiper, it's like, oh, of course you have to say that. It's Jokic. It's the Nuggets. Well, Matt, that's just ridiculous. I wish I was you in this situation. Matter of fact, this whole week, I wish I was you. I think that for the Jokic conversation, in order to have a proper contextual conversation about Joker and how good he is, Matt, would you agree that it helps when you're not directly affiliated with being a quote-unquote supporter of the team? Because if any other player did this, and if Giannis was doing this, if SJ was doing this, 29, 14, 11, 54, 51, 80 modern splits, 54 meaning the 2-point conversion. If any other player was doing that and they're 5-3 and the team was a plus 11 on the court, Matt, would this, if I was any other person, if I was you, would that be ridiculous to say he's been the runaway best player in the world?
Oh, just to be clear, I still get tagged with the Nuggets fandom thing. I get tagged with that and I only like him because he's white. That's the
Yeah.
two that I get hit with.
Yeah.
Is like that's why I think he's the best is because
Yeah.
he's white. So I get hit with
Right.
that same. Look, if you want to deny any player, you're not going to listen to anybody who like you'll find a
Sure.
reason to find bias in whoever else is advocating for somebody else. What I'd say is like I think that AD has had a phenomenal start to the year. It's too early to really evaluate the records because so much of it's strength of schedule right now. Nuggets have lost, or the Lakers have lost to some truly terrible teams.
Yeah.
So I think that matters a little bit. AD's already banged up, but like AD's been incredible on both ends.
Yeah,
now the impact isn't there, which I always kind of argue is a problem that he's the best defensive player in the world. And yet his team is way better defensively without him on the floor. What does that mean?
What does that mean? What does that mean for you if they're a minus on the court with him?
Because it means that he's not an elite defensive player. This is the argument I keep having with like Lakers fans is like my friend Anthony Irwin, who I go on the show a lot of, like Anthony's like, come on, you cannot say he's bad at defense. I'm like, I'm not saying he's bad at defense. I'm saying the defense is bad when he's on the floor. So he can't be an elite defensive player if he doesn't make his team any better.
Well,
if he's an elite individual player and it doesn't do anything, what does it matter?
But why? But that's what I guess also too. Why is for Embiid, for instance, the Sixers are by far a much better defensive team when he's on the court, regardless of personnel.
Right.
So why does that not apply to anybody else? Because AD seems to have slipped through the crack of he looks the part, but the numbers are saying he's not living up to the part. The defense is better with Victor. The defense is better with Rudy. The defense is better with Bam at times. The defense is better with Embiid. Like, what is it? And even Evan Mobley, Chet Holmgren. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, how is it that you can – go ahead.
So you said you were like, if he was any other player. And the reality is, even if Jokic played for the Bulls, people would treat him differently. If he played for Miami, they'd treat him differently. If he played for the Knicks, they'd treat him differently.
Sure.
If he played for the Lakers, he'd be a 6-time MVP.
Sure.
Like, that's just the reality. Like, that is just how this works, is you have to be one of those teams. Otherwise, there are barriers you have to break through. That's just how it goes. And it's the same for most guys. It's why it's so impressive that we're in an era where Giannis and Jokic have won multiple MVPs in Milwaukee and Denver, because there is an inherent restriction on what you can do. Jokic, I honestly this morning was like, I was like, I should look at this. Like, I don't usually look at like the league ranks. I more care about the advanced metrics, right? So I was just like, oh, I'll look this up and I'll do a graphic on it for Locked On. And when I saw, I was like, wait, he's 4th in scoring per game, and he's 1st in rebounds and assists.
Yeah.
You know, and this is like the thing is, Luka will have those numbers eventually, those types of figures,
and his efficiency will go up too.
But the team won't be as good when he's on the floor, probably.
Yeah.
That's what we've seen. Versus with Jokic, the team is amazing when he's on the court. Like, I this is why it's been really hard. Is like I can't find any, and this is why he's won 3 MVPs. Is anyone that does the work is always kind of left with like, yeah, I can't really make the case for anybody else. Like, it's got to be him.
Well, even on go ahead.
No, you go.
Even on Player's Choice, when we did this stuff early season, everything about Joker from my contemporaries, either on like the more content side or even on the NBA media side, like the actual credentialed media, most of the conversation around Joker is always around fatigue. Like, there's just no way. Like, there's just no way. And that's the start of the conversation. So I'm like, so everybody acknowledges, Matt, he's the best in the world for the most part. Everybody acknowledges that he's spectacular. They're watching him put up 23, 20, 16 lines. What did he have? 28, 19, 14 lines. Like, they're watching him put up back-to-back 41-point games versus the Raptors and the Nets. They're watching no other player on the roster right now average over 18 points a game. That's not going to last forever. Jamal's going to get there. There are so many things people look at with Denver. And then no Aaron Gordon, no Jamal, and he truly smokes the OKC Thunder, who are literally on pace to have a all-time great, historically great defense this year. Like 93 points per 100 possession prior to that game. But for some reason, though, with Joker, it's like, I think everybody is just trying their hardest to move on as if he's like 34 years old. And, okay, it's Luka's turn. It's Tatum's turn. It's SJ's turn.
I will say the history of the award, there's only been 2 winners that are 30 or older.
Right.
In the last 25 years. No,
25.
like since even before then. So if you go back to like post Jordan, it's only Kobe and Nash.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those are the only two that have won it. That was one of the reasons why on all these betting shows, I'm like, don't bet Jokic. He's outside of this range. And then he wins it again. And I'm like, oh. And then what I kind of came to last year is I was like, look, when you have an all-time great player, he breaks rules. And that's what Jokic has done. He breaks almost every rule about the award. We'll see.
Before we go to it was Jordan and Malone won in their 30s in the 90s. Yep. And then Hakeem was 31.
Yes.
Right. So there were 3. And then Charles won. I think he 30 or 29 that 93, 94.
He was 29.
Right. So there was basically 4 29 and up players that won in that decade alone.
Yeah. The 90s were good. The 90s had some good players. All right, up next, Christian Braun's gotten off to an absolutely ridiculous start. I've already taken the L on my Christian Braun takes, but we'll ask this question. Is what Christian Braun doing, is that sustainable? And what does that mean for the Nuggets if it is or isn't? We'll talk about that next here on Locked On Nuggets. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. They put their members first, so all your withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money this basketball season. What players are going off on a Friday? I think Steph Curry's probably going to have 30 plus, and that's going to be a big deal. Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Locked On NBA, LOCKEDON NBA, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. We're also brought to you today by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. We'll talk about Chiefs Broncos a little bit later, but lots of big games on the slate this weekend, as well as you can bet on Nikola Jokic to win MVP at a pretty juicy price. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. All right, let's get into it here on Locked On Nuggets. Let's talk about Christian Braun a little bit. Christian, an MIP candidate, most improved player. He's been phenomenal. He's shooting 45-85 from free throw and three-point range, respectively. Only reverse that. It would be crazy if he was shooting 85% from three. He's been very hot, especially above the break again, which was Calvin Booth's entire thing, is look at the above the break numbers. The corner shots are not great, but guess what? He hit a big one in the win over the Thunder, and that can come along as time goes. He's been aggressive. He's finishing. He's drawing fouls. He's playing the same level of great defense. He's been upgrade over KCP in every measurable way so far this season. Like, I took the L on the last episode. I'll keep taking it as many times until I can go ahead and have I appropriately taken the L on my resistance to Christian Braun being an upgrade, Swipe, or do I need to keep doing it?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, what is taking an L on Christian? Because he didn't show. I mean, to be fair, he didn't show half of this. Like, he just didn't. He wasn't a positive shooter. He wasn't a floor spacer. And last year, Matt, we spent many games and many conversations watching him drive to the lane recklessly and getting charge calls on him. Christian, just to be clear, has turned into arguably the third best player on this roster to start the year off. And some people will say he's even second. I just think Christian, man, he's finishing at the rim at a crazy level. He's hitting three-pointers. If teams are dropping on Christian Braun, they're going under screens, and he is murdering them like KCP used to. So just to think that he made this kind of improvement, and I mean, you know, me and you, I said, I think I can't remember who they were playing earlier this year, but I said they need to get Christian Braun back in the game on Twitter, and you're like, he's already at like 39 minutes. I said, good. He needs to be at 47. Like, he's become that important to this team. And that is a shocking revelation, even for me. And I feel like I've always liked Christian. But, I mean, at this point, Matt, if he maintains this, then Christian is making what? $30 million on this next contract? Like, this is like Derek White level territory that you're getting from Christian Braun. You know what I mean? So I just don't think that's sustainable for Christian, but what if it is? He's young. Like, this is only his third year in the league. He's going to keep getting better. You don't really peak until, what, year 6, 7 when you start getting into that? So maybe Calvin Booth was not only was he right, but Calvin Booth was so right in saying, am I not going to pay $22 million a year. I'm going to get borderline all-star level guard value from a player making $3 million a year or whatever he's making right now. So, no, it's just not even like – and especially Christian and Russell, like, their defense, Matt, has been spectacular, especially in the games. What they did at SGA, like, they were standing in front of SGA throughout the game, and Christian, man, like, he's become like a trusted inner circle player for the Nuggets, and we're only 8 games into the year.
I'm going to do the important thing here and make it about me. Carlos says the L doesn't come with not foreseeing this. The L comes with a doomerism and snarky remarks and a glorification of KCP. KCP is still a good player. He's had a rough start to the season, but he is still a really good player. And that's what made me mad, was how people rush to just like throw players that leave under the bus and are just like, they were never good, they're trash. I'm like, no, KCP is a great NBA player. He's been a valuable contributor to multiple championship teams. Let's give the man some respect. Second, I was not the doomerism, because I was the one that was like, hey, you're still going to be a title contender. Your window is still open here. It is not closed, and they're going to be a better team by the end of the season. And if you think that this 4-3 start means that everything is magically fixed, you should be a little bit closer to the team. Pay a little bit more attention is what I'll tell you there. But with Christian, look, I don't. Part of it is I could be wrong on this. I don't see like a lot of ways for Christian to be better. I don't think you can put the ball in Christian's hands and be like, go be a pick and roll creator. No.
Why not? Well, that's
because he doesn't have the handle. He doesn't have the handle, or like.
Whoa. To be fair, I saw him give somebody a bink break at the top of the key and went to the lane and broke him. So I don't know. Christian's he's been special. That's all I'm saying. He's been special. You don't know.
Do you think he could wind up being? I'm trying to think of like a comp here for like
Derek White.
Size.
Derek is a remember. Derek did not come into the league as a true combo guard. He was mostly an off-ball player. He showed some of that at CU, but then by the time, again, Derek gets to like year 3, 4 is when he started to turn into that like dual combo guard. And then really when the Celtics they took off.
Like, he's like small and quick.
Derek is 6'4". Christian's 6'6". Like, he's not Derek's not like, he's bigger than him and like bulkier.
But Derek's always been a guard. Like, him and Jamal Murray were battling. Christian's the wing.
Look at that. The Josh Hart of Derek White. I like that. That's a combination of 2 of my favorite players.
Great. That's really great. Well,
congratulations to you.
You know, and I think there's so many of these plays where I'm just like, he's not going to make this. And then he makes it. There's just like a lot of those. And so and I just will mention this. Look, Christian's better than Reggie. That's not like an argument. That's not even a discussion point. I know I can see you tilting your head because you're the number 1 Reggie Jackson hater, and now you're Dario Saric hater.
No. But I didn't hate Reggie Jackson.
You did. But Reggie last November, like Adam and I did a show where Adam's like,
Rookie
could he be sixth man of the year? Question mark. Right. And so my point here is I always say on the show, like, guys, NBA players have good and bad months. And if Christian's having a really good month to start the season, which matters and it helps, but then like he settles back down a little bit, that's okay. And he's still like a really good player and can still be an upgrade over KCP, etc. But like, I am not willing to go to like all-star or like.
Well, no, but I'm saying if you maintain this kind of volume and efficiency and rim protection and rim attacking with like this switching defense, well, that's like that's what that categorizes at. That's like a 2000s. Can I ask you? Go ahead.
Where do you think he's at on the scouting report right now?
Oh, he's still if everybody's healthy.
It's like page 2. I think he's page 2 on scouting. I always put it in page. It's all one page now because it's scrollable. But it's like.
But that's the thing. Derek White is on page 2. That he has to be like. It's Jason Tatum, JB, and then it's KP. Derek is going to be 4th on that role, but like You can't like prioritize your offense around him. The thing with Christian Braun is, so now what, Matt? Let's slant our defense towards Christian Braun. Oh, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., then Aaron Gordon all of a sudden is shooting 50% from three. And by the way, I want to add to that. He's shooting 50% from three since the Timberwolves series. This is real. All right, this is real. We got Aaron Gordon, JJ Redick all of a sudden. So I don't think you can slant your defense towards CB. But even with that, like, what are you? Then you're overloading on a help side on a player that's not like a primary offensive engine. That just seems like a mistake.
I do want to note this because I hear this a lot. KCP couldn't guard Shea or Anthony Edwards like CB. I agree. The difference, here's the one I really want to know is, what does it look like when they play the Warriors? Because KCP was amazing versus Steph.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, I will say, Christian still has some issues with heavy pick and roll point guards or guys coming off of off-ball screens. Christian's amazing in ISO. Like, his ISO work is phenomenal because he's so big and he's so quick and he's so disciplined. Like, those areas where Christian's so impressive because he uses his physicality without fouling. But when he's going to have to chase smaller guys over screens, that's where I think you're going to have a hard time. Now, maybe that's like where Russ takes over that assignment. We'll see.
Do you think Russ will be a competent defensive guard versus somebody like Steph? Well,
if he doesn't foul.
Yeah, if he doesn't foul. Yeah.
That's my thing. Mm-hmm. On the other side, we'll talk about the Heat and the Mavericks games, and Swipe and I will have some fun with the football game that's being played this weekend. We'll do that next here on Locked On Nuggets. Right now, I want to tell you about SKIMS, which is absolutely the best type of underwear you are going to find. Their cotton 5-inch boxer brief, it honestly puts other brands to shame. They hit right at the thigh and they stay there. That's the key. They don't move around. They don't bag out. They don't give you that 5 p.m. wedgie. If you like boxer briefs, you're going to love it. My fellow dads out there can probably relate to this. Our underwear drawers haven't had a good update in some time. That's definitely true. I was always partial to something simple and classic, and I was never sure what I was doing when it was time to replace my old pairs until SKIMS came along. It's everything I loved about my classics, but honestly better. They're the perfect weight, the perfect cotton feel, and the design is nice and simple how I like it. From now on, all dads should be going.
How often are you not changing your underwear? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
My wife does it for me, man. I have a wife. That's
okay. Well, every 6 months, get a new order of SKIMS.
Definitely. We'll be doing that now. Shop SKIMS Men's at skims.com. Let them know that we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. If you're looking for the perfect gifts for the whole family, SKIMS just launched their biggest holiday shop ever. Also available at skims.com. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making this part of your day. The chat is enjoying my SKIMS read, so you should go to youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets, and you too can enjoy it.
Hold on. Can we acknowledge that there are summer briefs and there are winter briefs? You need to get your winter briefs in the summer and get your summer briefs in the winter in SKIMS. I'm telling y'all. Have you seen the commercial? The Donovan Mitchell commercial?
Yes, it's amazing.
That's how we all look. We're in SKIMS.
That's how we all look. Every single one of us. All right, so the Nuggets play the Heat tonight, and this podcast is going up just a few hours before. Jamal's been upgraded to questionable, so he's probably going to play. That's usually the sign, is they go from out to questionable, and then they wind up playing. I would expect him to play. AG's obviously out. Bam last year, I thought did a better job than even in the finals versus Jokic. I thought he did a really good job. Now, everyone's kind of toast on Jokic. Especially, he's hitting threes this year, and I think that's going to be a real big problem for Bam. I will continue to say this, though, that, like, I am concerned about how much Jokic is having to carry right now, in that they just don't have anybody else that can do stuff for them.
Matt Moore, you're the biggest flip-flopper of the Locked On community and the Nugget side.
Why?
You're Mr. Doom and Gloom and Mr. Hold Me Accountable until you're no longer Mr. Hold Me Accountable. You say to me all the time, Joker's the best in the world. This is what comes with it. Well, you got to do it. That's what you say to me. I say he needs some help. You got to do it.
But you also, here's the thing. You have to give other guys the opportunity to help and be great in yours. Like, I don't expect Joker to be like I don't expect Joker in, what game are we on? 9? I don't expect Joker in game 9 to be like a 36% usage guy getting beaten to snot. I understand it in the Thunder game. I get that one. That's a spot. But versus Miami, even as physical as they are, and they're a good team, but it's like every team is really pretty good. I'm just kind of saying that you really need somebody else to step up and take some of I'm not even talking about like production. I'm not asking you to score. Just give the big fella a couple possessions where he doesn't have to be.
Isn't Westbrook leading them in usage when he plays with Joker?
I think he is.
It looks like he's working out fine. So Joker, Strother, Brown, Michael Porter, if they're playing well, I think if you're telling me, Matt, that they get to March or April and it's like this, then yeah. But like, do you think Jamal Murray's going to be this all year? Like 18 points a game on 38% from the field. Do you suspect that's going to be it?
No.
Yeah, well, I think that's a natural thing. I'm just saying, I have listened to you for years. I listened to you before I was on the show. Matter of fact, before I knew you, when I was just a young swiper, just kind of roaming in the forest somewhere. I'm saying, I know your stance on best in the world. This is what you have to do. This is just what comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Jordan had to do it.
I want to be consistent. I'm just, again, so somebody in the comments is like, Matt is saying this so that in March, when the Nuggets lose 4 of 6, he can gloat and say, I told you so. It's more when he's exhausted in game 7 in the second half when they're up 20. I'm just saying the process of managing the usage and the wear and tear and fatigue on Nikola Jokic is an all year process.
Yeah.
Like it can't just be something that you handle after All-Star. That said, this matchup, I think Miami's offense is bad. I just think it is. Tyler Hero's been on a roll,
happened to Bam? Where is he?
I have no idea. Like, I cannot believe that after, like, he had a great season last year, really made strides in terms of being aggressive. They said they were going to have him shoot more threes. He's got the Olympic bump, which usually guys are way better after they play in the Olympics and they see these other guys and they understand the game better. And he's just not there. And Jimmy is like a shell of himself. Maybe he goes off tonight. Maybe he doesn't. Like, the Nuggets are certifiably better without, like, right now, even without their starting point guard, they are just so much better than I think the Miami Heat are. That said, the Heat have a really nasty habit of grinding these games and putting them in positions where they can win. Like, they're very good at getting games into 5 points in the final 5 minutes. So I'm not going to be surprised if this is close down the stretch.
Well, Bam, I think, is the best Jokic defender in the league.
You think so? I would agree.
He fronts better than any big, bar none. He is so physical. He doesn't move, and because he's smaller, he just is able to get positioning like at an elite level. Do you think Miami's going to double tonight?
No.
Yeah, I mean, that depends on how Jokic is being guarded. Like, if they're playing zone like they did last year. Remember, Jokic had 2 low scoring outputs versus Miami last year, just by nature of how they were playing him. Now, I don't know if Jokic has the luxury to do that again this year. But we'll find out. But I think it should be an interesting game. I'm actually going to take a Bam over 20 points today, just by nature of how the Nuggets are going to cover them, and where his opportunities are going to be on the floor.
He'll have that mid-range floater pretty much every time.
Yeah,
that he got to in the finals. I assume you want Christian on Jimmy still.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, because like Hero is the guy that's been cooking.
Yeah,
and that's like an interesting one of like, do you want to put Christian on Tyler Hero and risk Jimmy getting loose?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but Jimmy getting loose versus Peyton, like Russ, like do you think they would be like, do you think that would be a tough matchup for them where Jimmy is right now?
I just see the thing with Jimmy is it's like, yeah, no, Jimmy's cooked. He's absolutely a zero factor until he has 35. Like, it's about consistency. He can have a night where he looks like playoff Jimmy.
But honestly, when's the last time Jimmy had a great game versus Denver, though?
That's a good point. It's been a while.
I mean, it can't be prior to or after 1920, it feels like. He just doesn't, like, for whatever reason, the way the Nuggets play him, he just doesn't. I think it's the pull-up shooting isn't there. He's not an elite driver. So if you're not, like, blowing by guys and you're also not an elite pull-up shooter, then it's like I think the Nuggets just feel comfortable being stationary in a one-on-one defensive setting.
I agree with that. So I think they get through this game. Mavericks on Sunday, I think, is a big one. Dallas, I am perplexed by. The Rockets loss was just like I've did a base watch on it. I need to do a deep watch on it to try and understand what exactly is going on. But Dallas has, like, they lost to the Pacers, they lost to the Rockets. They should be much better by the metrics. They should be way better than their record says that they are. This is a bigger game, I think, for Dallas than it is for Denver. Without Jamal Murray, Dallas needs to prove that they can that they are better than Denver this year, right? And you can't prove it with Jamal Murray out, but what you can do is you can come into Denver and win a game on the road in Denver. And look, they beat Denver in Dallas on that crazy game winner last year after All-Star, after the trades. They need to be able to prove that this version of themselves is not just better, I think, than Denver, but like a level above in order for them to kind of be on track for where they're supposed to be. And I don't see that being the case right now. Sunday should be a very close game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it should be close. Is Jamal Murray definitively out for that game?
No, I mean, I think he's back tonight. So
okay. Yeah, I mean, really, if Jamal's hitting shots, then it's not the Nuggets. They traditionally have played very well versus Dallas. Now, what they will do, Jason Kidd is probably the highest percentage double team coach against Joker I have seen in the last 2 seasons. They double him on every single touch below the nail. So if they do that, then the Nuggets are going to have to hit shots. But the problem is it's having Derek Lively and Daniil Gafford and PJ Washington. They have like good enough backline defense to make it difficult. But Russell Westbrook and Christian Braun honestly didn't have issues with Chet Holmgren. So they might just be in a zone right now where they're just going to attack relentlessly. And I brought this up the other day, but the Denver Nuggets are leading the NBA in free throw makes and free throw attempts. So with that being said, I think they're going to try to attack them consistently at the rim and see if they can create more three-point shots. But defensively, I actually feel really good about the way Denver matches up with them.
Yeah, I said Jamal was out. I meant AG. I meant without AG.
No, AG,
not Jamal. Jamal's back, I think, tonight. Yeah, so that one should be a really good one. We'll break that one down on No Jinx after the game. Okay, before we get out of here, what's your prediction for Broncos Chiefs on Sunday?
Where's the game?
It is, I believe it's in Kansas City since it's an early start.
Early start. Chiefs just had a long game. I'll say, because those games are always close. And just by nature of the way the Chiefs play, I'm going to say 24-21 Denver, and they hit a field goal in the game. Bullets from 37 yards out.
24-21. Okay, so that means 24-21. That's 3 touchdowns and a field goal. So you guys are gonna have.
I think Pat scores one.
3 defensive scores. That's really impressive.
No, that's the thing. I think they'll probably score. I think they'll rush one. I think Bo Nix will rush one. I think 1 catch. So I think it's gonna more so be Bo Nix's legs, more than anything else. So this is what happened every time the Broncos get blown out. This is what happens. Look at that. It's just pessimism.
They have one bad game versus the Ravens, where Lamar Jackson completed like 17 in a row on the supposedly elite defense. Crazy.
Stop.
Yeah, I will say this: like, as a Chiefs guy, like KC's extremely due for a loss. Right. Like it's been legitimately, I think, 5 games now. I'm like, probably should have lost that one. And like, I just don't think that can hold.
Well, if they had a quarterback that could play worth the dang this year, who knows?
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, what are you gonna do? So we'll see what happens, and we'll talk to Swipe about it next week, I'm sure. All right, that's gonna do it for Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us here on a Friday. I'll do a post-game quick show bonus episode for you after the Heat game, and then we'll have No Jinx with you on Sunday. We're going to start doing YouTube shorts after the game too for quick reaction. Be sure to look out for those at youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets as well. Sign up for the newsletter at lockedondaily.com. We will have Ryan's post-game thoughts over there at on that show. No, I'm sorry, on Monday's show, on Monday's episode. Newsletter, something. Thanks for joining us. Hope you guys have yourselves a great week. Hopefully I'll get the lighting and Swipe his room fixed by next week. And we'll see you guys again next time here on Locked On Nuggets.